Hi everybody, how you doing? I hope you're enjoying this channel. If you are, press like and subscribe. Pod and deliver, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Hey there. Welcome to Pod and Deliver. Ruben, this week we have an article from Education Weekly dated September 12th, 2025. The title of this article is Teachers Across the U.S. Get Suspended or Fired Over Posts Linked to Charlie Kirk. And I think many people have probably heard about this, more like not just teachers, but a lot of people who are in business or who are in the public eye who have made comments after his passing. And some of them were in celebration, or some of them were like, there were a couple comments in this article that said, hey, karma's, it's karma, or one Nazi down, right? And ugly things. Now, if it's from people who are not working with children, okay, maybe, but to me, I don't think it's abhorrent, period, because we're human beings and we shouldn't be praising someone who dies. But a lot of these people are teachers, and then that's what the whole article is dealing with is it a First Amendment right to be able to say what you want in this country, or are there consequences sometimes to the things that we say? And I know they brought up a 1968 decision, Pickering versus Board of Education. And the whole idea is saying, yes, teachers do have their First Amendment right to say what they like. However, they can be censored, right? If the district, if their supervisors feel like it's inflammatory or interferes with the effectiveness of their work, right? And so many people would maybe, I say many people, but I'm sure there are people who would say yes. A lot of these comments were definitely inflammatory, definitely would upset people who supported Charlie Kirk, because you got to think about half the country did, half the country maybe didn't, but even the other half that didn't, most people I would say didn't say things like this. There was a small percentage, I believe, who went out on social media and said, "Hey, great news, Charlie Kirk is dead," which is awful, I know, but were some people who did that. And so I don't know, Ruben. Yes, I understand it's a First Amendment issue, and hey, freedom of speech. But at the same time, when you're an educator, you take these morality. I mean, a lot of these districts have these morality codes within their contract, and sometimes it's not specific, but it's the way it's worded. You're saying, oh, okay, I need to behave myself when I'm out in public. I can't be going, joining a strip joint, going to strip joint and participating there, because it's like, hey, you're a teacher, and they expect us to have morals and values that won't make students and parents feel like, wait a minute, who's teaching my kids, right? And are these people respectable? But anyway, what's your thoughts on this, Rube?
Well, I'm not a First Amendment expert, so I guess I can't speak to that. Although I'm a common sense expert, maybe some people don't think so, but I just think that sensitivities are heightened after a presidential election and after something like this, which I should just say it's unprecedented. I mean, it doesn't happen every 4 years like that. It's just common sense that you don't dance on somebody's grave. You just don't do it. And I know there's always reasons, there's political reasons. Oh, but there's whole litany of reasons people have, but people are raised a certain way. So this is something political in the sense that we have students who are possibly a certain persuasion. This is why my last couple of jobs don't talk about politics after a big presidential election, I think is a good rule of thumb. But this is really, really troubling when you have teachers celebrating the murder of a person. I don't also celebrate the firing of people. I mean, I don't think it's wonderful that I don't ever celebrate
Sure.
sad news. But it's just common sense. You don't do this. It's about our humanity, and I feel like we've lost it. Somewhere along the line, it just became okay to celebrate somebody else's demise over politics. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about
Yeah,
that.
and I don't know, Ruben, but how does it change though? I mean, like I'm always trying to think of like a solution. Maybe we could end with this, the idea of, well, obviously there's an issue here because people did celebrate, and I think I'd hate to pick on people on the side that didn't support Charlie Kirk, but I believe it could go both ways for sure, where people would just celebrate on other people's demise or death. I mean, what is a solution? I mean, is there maybe there isn't a solution? We just need to just do better, or we need to just look out for each other better. I don't know. I don't know.
I would only say that um, I think people have to consistently ask themselves where they challenge themselves. I recommended a book to a friend who was celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk, and I recommended the book True Believer because in True Believer it talks about this idea of mass movement and politics arousing such emotion that it's almost cult-like, where you think that your leader is the next Messiah, and you think the other guy is Emmanuel Goldstein, who deserves the 2 minute hate in 1984. And it's like, I think it's important to keep checking myself of
For
that,
sure.
having my leaders be the Messiah and the other side being Hitler. But maybe it's not the best answer. It's not as easy my solution, but or simple. I recommended a book, but
Yeah.
it's also just a thought, just a belief of challenging ourselves. And as teachers, I guess for me, I remember my professor would say, um, I might not be able to change the world, but I could influence my corner of it. And I think of that as a teacher where I'm at. I have a group of students who are under my charge, and I choose not to participate and do. I choose to model good things as much as I can. Do I make a mistake? Yes. And by the way, right before this video, I sent an apology to one of my students for embarrassing her.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
I make mistakes.
Yeah.
So, um, but I really try to model that. So.
No, I like the idea of just taking care of your corner of the world. Like it is obviously a big issue, but as long as we're being an example and being and like you said, you're sharing a book with a colleague, and that's something that we could do for each other is just like look out for at least our surrounding group, right? That we live with and work with, and that could be the first step. So yeah, I'm with that. I'm with you on that. Well, thank you again, audience, for joining us here on Pod and Deliver. And please send us a text or emails and even respond to this video if there's something that touched you. We appreciate it. And have yourself a good night. Bye bye.